Hello everyone, welcome to WebDev Warrior. In today's video, we're going to build an corporate landing page from scratch. We're going to use the latest version of Next.js, which is Next.js 16. We are also going to use TypeScript and Tailwind CSS in this project. So first, let me show you a demo of this web application. So if I reload the page, you can see we have animation in our website, and you can see we have these different types of navbar, different image setting and some text. And if I start scrolling, you can see we have scroll animation in our project. Here we have image, some text for about us. Then we have this services section with animation and hover effect. Then we have this work process section with scroll animation. Then we have this portfolio section, then the block section and the contact section, and finally we have footer. Here we have a button, so if you click here it will go to the top. It's a scroll to top button. So if I show you the website again, you can see it's very beautiful and professional looking. And this website is fully mobile responsive. So let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect, and if I select a mobile device, here you can see we have a burger menu. If I click here, a sidebar will open with the nav links. It will open and close with beautiful animation and smooth sliding. And if I scroll, you can see every section fit perfectly with the viewport, and there is no overflow or nothing. It feels like a mobile app. So this is our mobile view. Let me show you the iPad view. It's a different screen size, and here it also fit perfectly and looks amazing. So this is the landing page we are going to build today. I'm going to teach you everything from scratch. I'm going to teach you how you can initialize a Next.js 16 project, how you can structure your file, how you can work with third-party libraries, how you can create a reusable component, and all of this. And finally, I'm going to teach you how you can deploy the project in the live server, like Vercel. So there's a lot of things that you are going to learn in this project. So I encourage you to watch the full video. The source code will be given in the description. The starter file will also be given in the description. You can check it out. And if you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. So without wasting any time, let's start building this amazing landing page. Now we're going to set up our project. First, I'm going to create a folder inside my PC and I'm going to name it corporate landing. And then I'm going to open this with my Visual Studio Code. And here I'm going to open my terminal. And let's close this GitHub Copilot. And here first I'm going to use npx create next app at the rate latest, and then I'm going to add a dot slash so that all the package are installed in our corporate landing page folder. Then I'm going to hit enter. So we're going to click Y to proceed, and then it asked us, would you like to use the recommended Next.js defaults? So you can enter this to yes, use the recommended defaults that the Next.js suggests, or you can customize on your own. So I usually use this default setting. So I'm going to hit enter. So this will install all the necessary package to initialize a Next.js project. So let's wait some time to complete the installation. The installation is completed. Here we have a lot of different types of package. So we have this tsconfig. We do not need to do anything here. A readme file, a post CSS, package JSON, package log JSON, next config, and here we can configure our Next.js. Then we have this next n.d. We do not need to do anything. ESLint, git ignore this public folder where we are going to add our images. Then we have this node module, and finally the most important directory here is this amp directory. So here we have this fav icon, we have this global CSS. So I'm going to remove all of this because we are going to start from scratch. Then we have this layout.tsx. This layout is overall wrapper of our project. For example, if we add a navbar here and a footer, then this navbar and footer will be available to all the pages that you are going to create inside this project. So it's actually wrap our project. So I'm going to remove this. You can also customize your font, your metadata from here, and we're going to do it a little bit later. Next, we have this page.tsx. This is the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear to the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of this, and I'm going to use RAFC, a shortcut, to create a component boilerplate. And to use this shortcut, you need to install an extension. The extension you need is this one, ES7 React Redux React Native Snippet. By installing this, you can use this shortcut. Now here I'm going to add some Tailwind to check if our Tailwind CSS is working or not. So let's use text rate 800 and text 4xo. Now I'm going to run our project using npm rundev and hit enter. Then I'm going to open a browser and go to the localhost 3000. So this is our home page, and you can see the text color changes and the text is bigger. That means our Tailwind is working properly. Now I am going to remove this because we do not need it. That's it. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a package for icons. We need to use different types of icon, and for the icon we're going to use React icons. So if I show you the React icons library, React icons, so here you can see they have different types of icon that we can use. And if I go to their npm page, here they have the install command. So I'm going to copy this and let's close this and paste it here to install the React icon to our project. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize our font and metadata. For that, let's go to the layout.tsx, and our React icons install successfully here. Now here you can see it import some font by default, but we're not going to use this default font, so I'm going to remove this. And here I'm going to import inter from next font Google, and then I'm going to use a variable called font, and then I'm going to use the enter and then font weight 100, 200, 300, 400, and I'm going to use all the available font weight. And then for the subsets I'm going to use lighting. That's it. Now here I'm going to remove this and I'm going to use font dot class name. That's it. And also for our project I'm going to add a background color here. So inside this, not here, so I'm going to use bg and then hash 1f24.2c. We're going to use this background color, And next we are going to customize our metadata. Metadata is very important for the SEO. So here for the title I'm going to use a simple one like corporate landing page. That's it. And here you can use any description if you want, like a corporate landing page built with Next.js and Tailwind CSS. That's it. Now if I go to our project, and here you can see our background changes and our text are there. Let's change the text color from our page. So class name text white. That's it. Now you can see we have our text, and here you can see we have our corporate landing page, which is our metadata. And if I inspect and if I hover here, you can see the text here is enter 16 pixel enter. That means our font also works properly. Next what I'm going to do is in our public I'm going to create a folder called images, and inside this I'm going to copy some of the images. So don't worry, all the images will be available in our starter file, and the starter file is given in the description. So check out the starter file for the image. So I'm going to copy this and paste it inside our images folder, and these are some of the images that we are going to use in our project. Awesome. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a component folder, components folder, and inside this I'm going to create a helper folder for our helper component, and then a home folder for our home page related component. And inside our home I'm going to create a home.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this home in our main page. So here I'm going to use home. So the idea is our main homepage component will contain the home component, and this home component will contain all the home page related component like the hero section, the services section, and all of this. That's how our main page will be neat and clean. And here I'm going to use a class name of overflow hidden. So we don't want any overflow in our project. Now if I go to our project, here we have our text just home. So that's it. This is our setup. Our setup is completed. Now I'm going to teach you the basic routing in Next.js. So let's go to the page.tsx. So first we have localhost 3000. So this is the page, the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page will open. Next I'm going to teach you how you can create other page like localhost 3000 slash, let's say, product, this page, or let's say about, and then I'm going to teach you how you can create nested routing like localhost 3000 slash about slash, let's say, team. And finally I'm going to teach you how you can create dynamic routing. So for example, let's say localhost 3000 slash about slash team, and say, let's say, member 1 or member ID, for example 102. So I'm going to teach you all of this. Now to create this about page, what you need to do is in the app folder you first need to create a folder and make sure to name it properly. If you want a about page, name it about. If you want a public product page, name it product. So I'm going to name it about, and then inside this create a page.tsx, and it's very important that you have to name it page.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and let's name it about page, and let's change the color here to text white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I go to the about page and hit enter, and you can see we are in the about page. Awesome. Let's go back to the localhost 3000, and then let's say we want to create this nested loop /about/team. So what you can do, inside this about, create another folder and name it team, because we want /team, and inside this team create a page.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. Let's say team page, and let's use class name text of white. So now if I hit save and let's go to our project, and if I go to /3000/about/team and hit enter, and you can see we are in the team page. Awesome. And finally, let's say you want to create a nested route like this one. So what you need to do is, so we already have this part here in the team. Next, I'm going to create another folder, but this time with this third bracket notation, and inside this bracket we're going to give the identifier for this part, if it is a ID or if it is a member name or something like that. For example, it's a ID, so I'm going to give ID here, and then inside this I'm going to create a page.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and let's say dynamic team page, and let's use a class name of text white. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and we already have this 3000/about/team, and let's say the ID is 102 and hit enter, and we are in the dynamic team page. Awesome. So this is our dynamic page. We can use other value here like 202, and now the question is how you can access this number. So to access this number, you need to convert this into async component. You will receive the params here, so it will complain because of the TypeScript. I'm not going to add TypeScript here because we're going to use TypeScript in our actual project. Then you will understand more about TypeScript. So here we will get the ID by await params dot ID, and then I'm going to show the ID here. That's it. So now if I hit save, and now you can see we have our ID. Let's use another ID like 1000, and you can see it changed to 1000. So this is our dynamic routing. Now let's go back to our localhost 3000. So this is all about the routing, the static routing, the nested routing, and the dynamic routing. So I'm going to delete this about page because we do not need it, and I'm also going to delete this comment. Now you have a better understanding of how Next.js routing works. So I hope you can now create different types of page in your Next.js project. So that's it for the Next.js routing. Now we are going to create the navbar. So if I show you the navbar in our deployed version, here you can see we have a logo here and we have this nav link box. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it Navbar. And inside this, first I'm going to create a nav.tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate. Then I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to name it mobile nav.tss. This is the sidebar for the mobile view, and I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate. And then I'm going to create a nav container that will contain our navbar and mobile navbar and also handle the responsive logic and tsx. And I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate, and inside this we will have our nav as well as the mobile nav. That's it. And now we're going to add this in our layout, because layout wrap our project. So by adding the navbar here, all the pages will have this navbar common. So I'm going to use nav container. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have nav, mobile nav, and the home text. So in the home, let's remove this home text because we do not need it. And in the mobile nav, also remove this text mobile nav, so that we only have the nav text here. So now we have this nav text. Awesome. Now here the first nav div will have a class name of height 12vh. This one will be a relative positioning. Z index will be 10. Enlarge screen, margin top 8. Then inside this we have another div with class name of flex, item center, height full, justify between, width 90%. In Excel, width will be 80%, mx auto. That's it. Now inside this, first we have our logo, and here we have a div with class name of flex, item center, and SpaceX will be 2. And for the logo you can use an image if you want, but here I am using the icons and text. Now inside this we have another div with class name of width 10, height 10, bg will be hash b69974, and then we have rounded full, then flex, item center, justify center, and flex will be in the column direction. That's it. And inside this div we will have an icon which is bi solid bus, solid business. That's it. And this one will have a class name of width 6, height 6, and text white. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have this beautiful logo. And then after this div we'll have a h1 with the text corp box, and this h1 will have a class name of text excel. This one will be hidden, and smaller divide, this one will be block, and medium screen text to excel, and text color will be hash d5 B6 H6 and font bold. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our logo, core box. Looks awesome. Now what we can do is we can create a helper component for this logo so that we can reuse it, or this component will be more manageable and clean. So in the helper, I'm going to create a logo.tsx and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and here I'm going to cut it from here and I'm going to paste it here, and also import this icon and hit save. Now in the nav we do not need this icon, and here I'm just going to use logo. That's it. Now if I go to our project, you can see we still have our logo. Awesome. Now this component is more clean and manageable, and we have this helper component dedicated for the logo. Awesome. So after the logo, we have our nav links for large screen, and I'm using this comment so that you can understand more and it is more readable. Now before doing anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to name it constant, and I'm going to add all the constant variable here. So here first I'm going to create a constant.ts file, and I'm going to export const navlinks, and this navlinks will be array of object that contains an ID, then a URL. For now let's use this hash, and a label. For first one, this one will be home, and we have 6 more, so I'm going to copy it 6 more times. That's it. And then this one will be ID2, and the label will be about, then ID3, and label will be services, then ID4, and the label will be work, ID5, and label will be portfolio, and then ID6, and the label will be blog, and I think we need one more. This one will be ID7, and this one will be contact. That's it. Now by doing this, you can easily insert or remove any nav links from here, and it will be easier for us, and we're going to loop through this and add a single styling that will apply to all the nav links. Now let's go to the component and nav.tsx, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to first define a div with class name of hidden. In large screen, this one will be flex, bg will be white, and height will be 10 vh. Medium screen, PL will be 4, item center, and SpaceX 10. That's it. Now inside this div, I'm going to map through our nav links, and I'm going to import this from our constant, and I'm going to map through it. We'll get the individual link, and then we're going to return a link which is coming from our next click. And here we need to pass the href. Href will be link dot u, not label, url. Then we need to pass the key. Key will be link dot id, and we need to pass some class name. The class name will be text black. In hover, text will be hash 9f7c4e, and then font semi-bold, transition all, duration 200 milliseconds. That's it. Now inside this link we'll have a p tag with link dot label. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our nav links, but it doesn't look like this one. So we have a missing styling here. So this one will be bg dash white. That's it. So now you can see it looks good like this one. And now we have this button. So let's go here, and after this link, after this we have our button, and here we're going to use a button with the text create account, and this button will have a class name of height full, padding 3, bg will be hash b69974, cursor pointer, text white, font bold. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our create account button, and our navbar looks exactly like this one. Awesome. This is our navbar, but here we need to add one more thing, which is a hamburger menu. So after this div, we're going to use a hamburger icon for mobile. So here we will have a div with class name of enlarge screen. This one will be hidden, and inside this we're going to use the high bars 3 bottom left, bottom right, and this one will have a class name of width 9, height 9, text color will be hash dfc3 9f, and cursor pointer. That's it. So now if I go to our project, nothing shows here, but if I inspect, here you can see if I use a mobile device, you can see we have this burger menu, and in mobile device we don't have our nav links box. We just have this icon logo and this mobile nav bar. So this is it for our large screen nav bar. Now we are going to start building the mobile nav bar. So if I show you the mobile Navbar here, you can see by clicking this button, first a overlay come to the screen and then this nav part come to the screen. And you can see it comes smoothly and looks awesome. So let's go to the mobile nav.tsx, and here inside this div, first we have the overlay. So here we have a div with class name of fixed, inset 0, transform, transition all, duration 500 millisecond, z index will be 1002, bg will be black, opacity 70, and we use this transform because we want the smooth sliding animation. And then with full height screen. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our overlay. After the overlay, we have our nav links. And here, first I have a div with class name of text wide, top 0, fixed, justify center, flex will be in the column direction, height full, transform, transition all, duration 500 millisecond, and apply a delay of 300 milliseconds. So first the overlay come to the screen, and after 300 millisecond delay the nav links will appear to the screen. Width will be 80%. In smaller devices with 60%, bg will be hash 9f 7c 4e. That's it. Space y 6 and z index will be 1050. That's it. Now inside this div I'm going to use our nav links again, and we're going to map through it. We'll get the link, and then we're going to use the link from next link, and here I'm going to pass the key will be link.id, and then a href will be link.url, and that's it. And then inside this link we'll have a p tag with link.label. Now this p tag will have a class name of text wide with fit text 20 pixel, margin left will be 12, border bottom 1.5 pixel, padding bottom 1, border white, and small and large screen text 30 pixel. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our home, have our service, work, portfolio, blog, and contact, and it looks awesome. So just like this one. Next we need a button, a close button. So after completing this we will have a close button. And here we're going to use a icon which is CG close, coming from our React icon, and this icon will have some class name absolute top 0.7 RAM, right 1.4 RAM, smaller devices width 8, smaller devices height 8, width 6, height 6. That's it. So now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our close icon just like this one. Awesome. So now our mobile navbar is also completed. Next we need to make it responsive. So for that, let's go to the nav container, and here first we need to convert this into a client component. Why client component? Because in Next.js 16 all the components are by default server component, and you cannot use React hooks in the server component. To use the React hooks, you need to convert your server component to client component. And here we are going to use React hooks. So we need to convert this into a client component, and it is very easy. You just need to use this use client at the top, and this will convert your component into a client component. Now here first I'm going to create a constant with showNav and set showNav and a use state hooks, and initially this one will be true. Not true, this one will be false. The navbar will initially false, and then I'm going to create a open nav function. So const open nav handler, this one will be an arrow function, and set showNav to true, and then another function to close the navbar. So const close nav handler, that will set our showNav to false. Now we need to pass this function in our nav and mobile nav. So first we are going to pass a open nav props here, and in the open nav props we are going to pass our open nav handler, and for the mobile nav we are going to pass our showNav, which is our showNav constant, and a close nav, and we are going to pass our close nav handler. That's it. Now here you can see this will give us a warning because of the TypeScript. Here we are going to use our TypeScript. So first let's go to the nav.tsx, and here at the top we'll create a type props. You can name it anything you want. You can name it nav props or other things. So as a props we are receiving open nav. But what is open nav? Open nav is a function that returns void. So this is the type of our open nav function. So here we are going to pass our props, and we are going to import the open nav. Now when we click on this hamburger menu, so on click, we're going to call our open nav. That's it. Now let's go to the mobile nav. Here we will do the same. Create a type prop. Here we are receiving showNav, and showNav is a type of boolean. It can be true or false. And then a close nav. Close nav is similarly a function that returns void. This is the type of our props. Now we are going to pass the props here, and we're going to import our close nav and show nav. Now first, when we click on this close nav, so on click this close icon, we're going to call our close nav. That's it. Now based on this show nav, we're going to show or hide our navbar, the sidebar. So here at the top, I'm going to create a const nav open styles, and here we're going to use the show nav. If the show nav is true, then we're going to use translate x0, that means we're going to show the sidebar. Otherwise, we're going to use translate x minus 100%. We're going to remove it from the screen. Now we need to add this in our overlay as well as in our main navlink steps. Now to insert a constant or dynamic variable, we need to use the template literal format. So I'm going to use the second bracket and the curly braces template literal format. And here I'm going to add our nav open style. We'll do same for this. So template literal, remove the quotation marks, and here insert the nav open style. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I click here, you can see our navbar opens smoothly and it also closes smoothly, and you can see it works perfectly. And in the larger screen you can see it looks awesome, and in mobile screen we have the hamburger menu and this navbar. And let's check this on the iPad. The iPad, it also looks awesome. So our navbar is completed. Next we're going to build the hero section. So if I show you the hero section, here you can see we have some text, a button and an image. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it hero. And inside this I'm going to create a hero.tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So here we will have our hero section. That's it. Now let's go to the hero.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of width full, height will be 80%, 80vh, bg will be hash 1f 242c, and this one will be flex, justify center, flex will be in the column direction. That's it. Now inside this we have another div with class name of width 80%, then we have mx of auto, grid calls will be 1, and in large screen grid calls will be 2, and gap 4, item center. Now here the first part will be the text content. So here we have a div, and inside this div we have h1, and I'm going to copy the text from here. So this is the text, and paste it here, This h1 will have a class name of text for Excel. In medium screen, text 7 Excel, font bold, text white. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our heading, which looks amazing. Next, let's add here a comment like title. Then we have some description, and here we will have a p tag. I'm going to copy the text from here and paste it here. This p tag have a class name of margin left 0, in medium screen margin left 12, in medium screen margin top 10, otherwise margin top will be 5, text small, in medium screen text base, font semi bold, and text white. That's it. So now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our text. Awesome. Next we have the button, and here we have a button with the text discover more. This button will have a class name of px8 py3 rounded full, margin top 10, margin left 0, in medium screen margin left 12, text white, font semi bold, cursor pointer, in hover bg will be hash 9f 7 c 4e, and then the transition all, duration 300, and outline 2, and outline will be gray 300. That's it. Now if I open our project, here you can see we have our button with this hover effect, which looks amazing. Next we have this image. So here after the text content we'll have our image content, and here we have a div with class name of absolute top 0 right 48. This one will be hidden, and in large screen this one will be block. Now inside this we'll have an image from next image, and source will be slash images slash hero.png, and then the width 550 and the height will be 550, and the alt tag will be, let's say, the image. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see our image, and we have this hero section which looks amazing. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fits perfectly and looks awesome. And let's check this in iPad. In iPad it also looks amazing. So our hero section is completed. Next, we're going to build the About Us section. So if I show you the About section, here you can see we have some images, some text, and some progress bar. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it About. And inside this, I'm going to create a about.tsx, and then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. Then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the hero, here will be about component. And now if I go to the about, here we are going to add some class name. Padding top will be 16, padding bottom will be 16, bg will be white. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our about section with white background. Now inside this div we'll have another div with class name of width 80%, mx auto, grid calls will be 1, in larger screen grid calls will be 2, gap 6. Then inside this, first we have the image content. So here we'll have a div with class name of relative flex justify center items center. Now inside this div we will have our main image. So here I'm going to use the image component from next image, and the source will be slash images slash a3.png, and then the alt will be img, the width 500, and height will be 500. And we're going to add some class name, animate screen. Then we're going to add a animation duration, and the animate duration will be 20 seconds. That's it. So now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our main image which is rotating just like this one, and at the center we'll have this image. Then after this main image we'll have our centered image, and here I'm going to use the image component, and then the source will be slash images slash a4.png, the alt will be image, and the width 350, height 350. Then the class name will be absolute top half left half translate x half minus translate y half rounded LG, in medium screen margin left 4, width will be 200 pixel, and height will be 200 pixel. The medium screen width will be 350 pixel, and medium screen height will be 350 pixel. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here we have our image, but it doesn't look good. So let's check. So here this one will be minus translate x half. Now it's in the center, just like this one. Awesome. So after the image we have this text content. So after completing this image content, we'll have our text content, and here we'll have a div, and inside this div we have a h1 with the text, this text about us. So copy this, paste it here. Then we have our main heading h1, and I'm going to copy this from here, and then we have some description. This one is actually a sub heading, we can say, and here I'm going to use a p tag, and I'm going to copy this text from here. So paste it here. Now for the first h1 we have a class name of text blue 700, text large, font medium, tracking widest. That's it. Now for this h1 we have a class name of text 3xl, in medium screen text 5xl, font bold, magenta 4. That's it. Now for the p tag we have a class name of margin left 0 in medium screen, margin left 12 in medium screen, margin top 10, otherwise margin top 5, text black, text small in medium screen, text will be base, font semi bold, and reading loose. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our about us text, our heading, and our description, just like this one. Next we need to implement this progress bar, and for the progress bar we're going to use a separate component. So here I'm going to create a about progress.tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate, and then in the about, after the p tag we'll have our progress content, and here I'm going to add our about progress. That's it. Now let's go to the about progress, and here first I am going to define some data. So const data, and this one will be an object with id of 1, then the title will be digital marketing, then the percentage the percent will be 95, and the icon will be fa bullseye bullseye, and this icon will have some class name of text white and text 3x, and we'll have another one, so I'm going to copy it, and this one will be 2. The title will be digital business, percentage will be 90, the icon will be high outline chart bar. That's it. So this will be our data. Now here the first div have a class name of space y8, padding y6, in medium screen padding y10. Now inside this we're going to map through data dot map, then the item and the index, and inside this we're going to return a div, and here the key will be item dot id, and then we're going to add some class name of flex item center gap 6 bg white rounded excel shadow will be medium, and padding will be 6. That's it. Now inside this first we have a icon, so I'm going to define a div with class name bg will be hash b5 8b 58, then padding will be 5, rounded md flex item center justify center. That's it. And inside this we will have item dot icon. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our background with this icon box. Awesome. Then after the icon we will have our text plus progress. So here we will have a div with class name of flex1. Now inside this we will have another div with class name of flex justify between items center margin bottom 2. Now inside this div we will have a h3 with item dot title, then this h3 will have a class name of font semi bold text gray 800 and text LG. Then we have a p tag with item dot percent. This p tag will have a class name of font semi bold text gray 800. Then after this div we'll have another div with class name of width full height to bg gray 300, then rounded full and overflow hidden. Now inside this div we'll have another div with class name of height to bg will be hash b5 8b 58 and rounded 4. That's it. And here we're going to add extra styling for our progress. So this one will be style and this one will be an object, and inside this we'll use width, and width will be a template literal, and we're going to use our item dot percent. That's it. And then a percentage symbol. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our progress bar which looks amazing, just like this one. Now let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device everything fit perfectly. And let's check this on the iPad device. In the iPad everything also looks amazing. So our about section is completed. Next we're going to build the services section. So if I show you the services section, here you can see we have some text and we have this service card. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside the home and I'm going to name it services. And inside this, I'm going to create a file called services.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. And I'm going to add this here, services, at our home component. Now let's go to the services. So before that, in the about progress, here we don't actually use this, but we are going to use this later. So for now, let's add a dash here. So it also gives the warning. So for now, let's remove this. We're going to add this later, but for now, let's remove this. Now let's go to services.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding top of 20, padding bottom of 20, relative. Then inside this div we'll have an image which is coming from next image, and the source will be slash images slash services bg dot png, and the alt will be, let's say, bg, then the width 300, height 300, class name absolute, and right 0. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here we don't have the image. Let's see, this one will be service dot dash bg. Now you can see we have some image, so like this one, it will visible to us when we add other content also. So after, we can add a comment here like is the side image pattern. Then we have another div with class name of with 80% mx auto. And then inside this we will have h2 with the text our services, and then we have h1 with the text of creating, not creating, crafting crafting your digital, and then we're going to use the break tag story with passion. That's it. Now for the first h1 we have a class name of text hash PEB956, and then text LG font medium. Then we have the tracking widest. Now for the second h1 we have a class name of text 3xl in medium screen, text 5xl, margin top 4, font bold, text white. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see our services and crafting your digital story with passion. So just like this one. Awesome. Next, for this card we're going to create a separate component so that it can be manageable. So here I'm going to create a services service card.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. And now in the services, here after this h1 we'll have a div with class name of grid, margin of 16, grid cost 1 in medium screen, grid cost 2 in large screen, grid cost 3 in extra large screen, grid cost 4, gap 6, item center. Now inside this div we have another div, and then inside this div we will have our service card, and we're going to pass some props here. The first props we're going to pass is the image. For the first one we're going to use images slash images slash s1 dot png, and then we're going to pass the icon. For the first one the icon will be slash images slash icon 1.png. Now we have 4 more, so I'm going to copy this div 4 times. So 4, then this one will be s2, the icon will be s2, this one will be s3, this one will be icon 3, this one will be 4 and 4. That's it. Now let's go to the service card.tsx, and here at the top I'm going to receive the props. So type props, and the image will be string, and the icon will be string. Now I'm going to pass it here props, and I'm going to import the icon and the image. Now here the first div have a class name of rounded LG group overflow hidden BG white. That's it. Now inside this we'll have an image which is coming from next image, and here the source will be the image, the alt will be, let's say, image, the width 300 and the height 179. That's it. So after the image we have a div with class name of padding 4. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of width 22, height 22, minus empty 14, relative group over bg black, transition of duration 200 millisecond, z10, margin left auto, rounded lg, flex, item center, justify center, flex will be in the column direction, and bg will be hash b69974. That's it. Now inside this we'll have another image, and this one, the source will be icon, alt will be icon, and the width will be 60 and height will be 60. So if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our image, our icon box, and our hover effect. Awesome. So let's add some comment, main image, and this one is the icon image. That's it. Now after this div we have another div with class name of width 16, margin top 6, and it will be pixel bg gray 700. That's it. Now if I go to the project, here you can see we have this line just like this one. Then after the line we have h1 with the text our services, and this h1 have a class name of text gray 800, margin bottom 4, margin top 2, font semi bold, no, this one will be text gray, sorry, this one will be text gray 700, and margin top 2, text small. Next we have a p tag with work from home, and this one will have a class name of text gray 800, margin bottom 4, margin top 2, font semi bold. That's it. Now if I go to our project, there you can see our services work from home, just like this one. Awesome. So we have the hover effect, images, and all of this. And let's check the responsiveness. If I inspect and select a mobile device, so you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. And let's check on the iPad device. In the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our services section is completed. Next, we're going to build the work process section. So if I show you the section, here you can see we have our 4 work process list. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it work process. And inside this, I'm going to create a file called work process.tsx. And I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add it here. After the services, we'll have our work process. So here I made a mistake. So this one will be work process, and this one will be work process also. That's it. Now here I'm going to use our work process. That's it. Now let's go to the work process.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding top 24, padding bottom 24, bg white. Now inside this div I'll have h1 with the text work process. Now this h1 will have a class name of text hash b69974, then text large, text center, font medium, and tracking will be widest. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our work process text, just like this one. Next, after this, each one will have another h1, and here we're going to use transforming ideas into, then we have a break tag digital reality. That's it. Now this h1 will have a class name of text 3xl in medium screen, text 5xl, margin top 4, font bold, text center. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our transforming ideas into reality. Awesome. Then after the h1 we will have our card, the work card, and I'm going to create a separate component for that. So this one will be work progress, not progress, work process card. So here I'm going to create a work process card.tsx, and I'm going to use a RFC shortcut to create a component boilerplate, and here I'm going to add our work process card, and we're going to pass some props. The first one is the number. For the first one, this one will be 01, then a title. So this one will be creative crazy. Then we're going to pass another prop, which is extra class. If it is true, we're going to add some extra classes to our card. Now I'm going to copy it 3 more times because we need 4 cards. This one will be 02, 03, and 04. And for the second one, The title will be brand boost. Then the third one will be media minds. And the fourth one will be, let's use the same one, media minds. And the second one, no, the first one and the third one will have the extra classes. Let me show you why we need the extra classes. Because some of these have this bar. So the first card have this bar and the third card have this bar. That's why we're passing the extra classes. And another thing is, here we need to create a div, and this 4 card will be inside this div, and this div will have class name. So first we have width of 80%, margin top 20, image auto, grid calls will be 1, in large screen grid calls will be 2, gap x 6, and gap y 14. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our 4 work card. Now let's go to the work process card, and here at the top we're going to receive our props. So the first one is the number, which is a type of string. Then we are receiving a title, which is a type of string. And finally we are receiving a is extra class, which is an optional. That's why we use this question mark here, and this one will be a type of boolean. Now here we're going to pass our props, number, title, is extra class. Now here the first div have a class name of, and we're going to use the template literal format so that we can add some dynamic constant here. So first let's use flex item center gap 3, then the is extra class, if it is true, then we're going to pass a large screen border right 2, a large screen border gray 300, otherwise an empty string. Then so that's it. After this, inside this div we'll have another div with class name of text 40 pixel, in medium screen text 60 pixel, in large screen text 80 pixel, font bold, margin right 5, reading none, and text amber 600. That's it. And here will be our number. That's it. Then we have another div, and then inside this div we have a h1 with the title, and then a p tag, and the content I'm going to copy from here. So paste it. Now the first h1 will have a class name of text hash 252525, font, semi-bold, text, Excel. Then we'll have a class name of in a larger screen, width will be 90%, margin top 3, leading 8, font medium, text gray 700. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our title, our numbering, our description. Awesome. And it looks exactly like this one. Now let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fits perfectly. And check this in the iPad. And iPad it also looks amazing. So our work process section is completed. Next, we're going to build the project section. So if I show you the project section, here you can see we have our titles and this project with this 3D type hover effect, which looks amazing. It's give us a premium type feel. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home and I'm going to name it project, and then I'm going to create a project.tsx, and then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add it in our home. So after the work process, we'll have our project. Awesome. Now this project, first I'm going to create a constant. So const project images, and here we're going to have images slash p1.jpg, and I'm going to copy it 5 more times. So this one will be p2, p3, p4, p5 and p6, and we have forget to give this comma here. That's it. Now here the first step have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and bg will be black. That's it. Now inside this we have a h2 with the text portfolio, and this h2 have a class name of text b69974, and text will be large. Text center, font medium, tracking will be widest. That's it. So you can see we have this portfolio. Then after this h2 we have a h1 with class name of text 3xl, in medium screen text 5xl, in margin top will be 4, text will be white, font bold, and text center, and that's it. And inside this we'll have our transforming ideas into then a break tag, digital reality. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our heading. Next, we have another div with class name of grid. Grid calls 1 in smaller device. Read calls 2 in a larger screen. Read calls 3 margin top 20 with 80%. Image auto gap 6. That's it. Now inside this, I'm going to map through our project images, and I will get the source and the index, and then return a div, and the key will be index, and here we need a third party packages. The package we are going to use is React tilt. React parallax tilt. This one. So this package helps us to implement this 3D type hover animation. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it here and hit enter. And now inside this div, we need to use this tilt. So first there's import tilt. So import tilt from React parallax tilt, and inside this div I'm going to use tilt, and here inside this I'm going to use an image, and the source will be source, the alt will be project, the width 450 and the height 550, and the class name will be rounded md. That's it. So now if I hit save, and also we need to convert this into a client component using use client. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here we have some error. So let's reload the page. That's because we don't use the use client. So now if I go to our portfolio, here you can see we have our images with this beautiful 3D type hover effect. Awesome. Now let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, so you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. And let's check in the iPad. In iPad it also fit perfectly. So our project section is completed. Next we're going to build a blog section. So if I show you the blog section, here you can see we have our section heading and then this blog card. So to build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it blog, and inside this I'm going to create a blog.tsx, and then I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the project we will have our blog. That's it. Now in the blog, the first div have a class name of pt16, padding bottom 16, busy white. Now inside this div we have h2 with the text block. So let's make it h2, and here we have some class name. The text will be hash b69974 text lg text center font medium tracking widest. That's it. Then we have a h1 with the text latest news and articles. Then we have a break tag, and then from our block. That's it. Now this h1 will have a class name of with 80% mx auto grid cos 1 in medium screen grid cos 2 excel grid cos 3 gap 6 and margin top 20. That's it. Sorry, this one will be class name of text 3xl in medium screen text 5xl margin top 4 text black font bold and text center. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our section heading. Awesome. Then after the h1 we have a div with class name of not children, class name of with 80% mx auto grid calls will be 1 in medium screen grid calls 2 in excel grid calls 3 gap 6 margin top 20. Now inside this div we're going to create a separate component for our blocker. So if I show you, we're going to create a separate component for this blocker so that we can reuse it. So inside the block I'm going to create a blocker.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and in the block we're going to have a div, and inside this div we're going to use our blocker, and we're going to pass some props. The first one is the image slash images slash b1.png, then a title. For the first one is standard chunk, and then some random text, for example lorem ipsum, then that's our company. That's it. Then I'm going to copy it 2 more times because we have three blocker. This one will be b2 and this one will be b3. The second title, let's use these cases There are many simple and easy. And for the third one, let's use the first title again. You can use another title if you want, but I am using the same. So these are block. Now let's go to the block card and we are going to receive the props. So type props and the image will be string and the title will be string. And we're going to pass the props here and we are going to receive the image and title. That's it. Now here the first tip have a class name of bggray 100 rounded lg and overflow hidden. That's it. Now inside this tip we'll have our image from next image and the source will be image, then the width 300, the height will be 206. Let's use the alt of image and a class name with 4. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our 3 beautiful image. Let's add a comment here, blog image. Then after the image we have our blog content, and here we have a div with class name of padding 6. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, item center, justify between. That's it. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, item center, space x3. Now inside this I'm going to use the icon fe rect folder from React icon, and this one will have a class name of text orange 700, width 6, height 6. That's it. Then we will have a p tag with the text category, and this p tag will have a class name of font semi-bold, text gray 800, and text small. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our category, but it doesn't look like this one. I think we have the wrong icon. This one will be folder open. So now if I hit save, it's not like this. So here we are going to import it from ff6. So now it looks good, just like this one. Awesome. Then after this div, so this is the category, then we have the date. So I'm going to copy this from here and paste it here, and I'm going to change the icon. This one will be bi calendar, And the text here, we're going to use a date. Let's say October 27, 2025. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so you can see we have our date just like this one. Awesome. Then after this date, and after completing this step, we will have our title. So this div is for category and date. Now here we'll have each one with the title, and this each one will have a class name of class name, text large, margin top 6, font bold, text gray 900, in hover text blue 700, transition all, duration 300, cursor pointer. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our heading just like this one. Awesome. Next we have the read more button. So here we will have a read more button, and here I'm going to use a button with class name of relative, then inline block, margin top 8, cursor pointer, and group. Then inside this button we have a span with read more text, and the span have a class name of inline flex, items center, gap 2, text small, font semi-bold, tracking 2 pixel, uppercase, text hash 1a 1a 1a, and that's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so it's not looks good. So this one will be span, and then we have a icon which is fi arrow right, array down right, this one, and this will have some class name. Text will be hash b7 9d 7d, text excel, transition transform, duration 300 millisecond, group hover, translate x 1. That's it. So this one will be actually inside the span. Now if I hit save, Now it's also not look good. Let's check. So the button will have a relative inline block, margin top 8, cursor pointer, group. Then the span have a inline flex, item center, gap 2, text small, font semi-bold, tracking to uppercase, text. Here the problem is we're using tracking of 2 pc. This one will be 2 pixel. Now if I hit save, now it looks good. It looks like this one. Awesome. Next we need to implement the hover effect and the underline. So after the span ends, we will have our underline. And here we will have a span with class name of block with full height pixel group hover with 0 with 0 transition all duration 300 millisecond bg hash 514f4 f margin top 2. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our underline with this hover effect. Awesome. So it looks amazing. Now let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device everything fit perfectly and looks amazing. And let's check on the iPad. So in the iPad it also looks amazing. So our block section is completed. Next, we're going to build the contact section. So if I show you the contact section, here you can see we have a contact form and some boxes. So to build it, we're going to create a new folder inside our home, and I'm going to name it contact, and inside this I'm going to create a contact.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. And here after the block I'm going to add contact component. That's it. Now here you can see we have our contact. Now let's go to the contact.tsx. The first div have a class name of 16, padding bottom of 16, bg grade 200. Then inside this div we'll have another div with class name of grade calls 1, in large screen grade calls 3, gap 6 with 90%, in large screen with 80%, item center mx will be auto, margin top 16. Now inside this div first we have our contact form. Here we will have a div with class name of large screen cos span to bg gray 900 rounded excel padding 6. Now inside this first we will have an input of type text. The placeholder will be name and then a star sign. Then we have a class name of border 2, padding margin top will be 6, border gray 600 with full px6 py3 rounded full, margin bottom will be 6, and the placeholder text white, and outline none. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our box, but here I think, so here we have a missing of padding top 16. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see it looks good. Now we have this name field just like this one, and here in the deployed version I see a problem that the text is black. So what we need to do is, let's keep the outline first and make the text white. So now if I hit save, and now we have the outline and we can type something. Awesome. Next we have the email subject and the comment. So I'm going to, let's add this, the name, then email subject. The second one is for the email, and third one is for the subject. So this one will be type email and email subject, not subject. This one will be placeholder subject, and type will be text. And I'm going to copy it again. This one will be our, let's see what we have. We have our comments. So this one will be comments, and this one will be a type of text area. And in the text area we do not need the type. We're going to use a rows of 5. And now if I hit save, and go to our project, so here it doesn't look like this one, so we need to change something. So first, in the text area we will make it a rounded 3xl. So rounded 3xl. That's it. Now if I go to our project, now it looks good, but I think there is a extra gap between these two. Let's find out. So for the second one we do not need the margin top here, here for the third one, and this one. So now if I hit save, now it looks good. It looks like this one. Awesome. Next we have the button. So let's use this one is comments, and then we have the buttons, and we're going to use a button of submit and class name of with full px6 py3 bg hash b6 9974. Then we have uppercase and cursor pointer rounded full and text white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our button. Awesome. Exactly like this one. Next we have this 3 card. So let's go to our project. So this is our contact form, and then we have our card. So cards, and here we have a div, and this div will have a class name of in a larger screen calls pen 1, and inside this we'll have another div with class name of padding 6 bg blue 800 flex items center space x4. Now inside this div I have another div with class name of width 15 height 15 rounded full bg hash d8 ff36 flex item center justify center and flex in the column direction. That's it. Now inside this div we have a fa arrow right, and this arrow will have a class name of text blue 800, and then after this div we have another div, and inside this div we have h1 with call now, and then another h1 with the number. So let's use a random one. That's it. Now the first h1 will have a class name of text wide, text small, font semi-bold. That's it. And the second h1 have a class name of text 20 pixel, font bold, and text white. That's it. Now if I go to our projects, here you can see we have our first card. So call now and then this text, just like this one. We have two more, so I'm going to copy it two more times. So now if I hit save, now we have this, but we need some gap. That's why for the second one I'm going to add a padding top of 4 and padding bottom, margin bottom of 4 and margin top of 4. Now it looks good, and this one is our first card. This one is our second card, and this one is our third card. That's it. For the second card we are going to change some information. So for the second card, this one will be email now, and here I'm going to use it @gmail.com. That's it. And for the last one we're going to use address, and here I'm going to use my address. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our 3 card and our box, our contact form. So now if I check the responsiveness, so if I inspect and select a mobile device, here you can see we have our form and we have our card. It looks amazing. And let's check on the iPad. In iPad it also fit perfectly. So our contact session is completed. Next we are going to build the footer section. So if I show you the footer section, here you can see we have 4 part of the footers with addresses, links and newsletters and all of this. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home and I'm going to name it footer, and inside this I'm going to create a footer.css. Now I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our app and inside the layout. So after the nav, then we have children, and then we will have our footer. That's it. Now let's go to the footer.css. The first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Then inside this div we will have another div with class name of not children, class name, width will be 80%, then mx auto, item start, grid calls will be 1, smaller devices, grid calls will be 2, in medium screen, grid calls will be 2, in larger screen, grid calls will be 4, and gap 10. That's it. Now inside this we have our first part. So if I show you the first part, we'll have a logo, some description and this social link. So first here we have a div, then inside this div we'll have our logo. So we're going to reuse our logo component. So logo from helper. That's it. If I go to our project, here you can see we have our logo. Awesome. Next we have this description. I'm going to copy it from here, and then after the logo we'll have description. So let's use a p tag and paste the text, and then this p tag will have a class name of margin top 6, text small, text gray 300, leaning 6, and font semi-bold. That's it. Then after the p tag we have our socials, links, and here we'll have a div with class name of flags, items center, spacex 4, margin top 6. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of width 12, height 12, bg gray 700, rounded lg, flex, item center, justify center, flex will be in the column direction, cursor pointer, in the hover the bg will be blue 600, transition all, and the duration will be 300 milliseconds. That's it. Now inside this div we will have an icon which is fa Facebook F from React icon, and here we'll have a class name of width 6, height 6, text white. That's it. If I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our text and then this icon, but it doesn't look good. Let's see why. So here we forget to add grid. So here we'll have a grid. Now if I hit save, now it looks good, just like this one. And now we have this Facebook icon. Awesome. So next, so this is our Facebook icon, and then I'm going to copy it two more time. The second one is a YouTube icon, and the third one is a Instagram. So this one is the YouTube. So I'm going to change the icon here from Facebook to FA YouTube, and when hover we're going to change it to BG rate 600, and then the third one will be Instagram, and I'm going to make it a FA Instagram icon. So FA Instagram, and in the hover this one will be pink 600. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our three icons, social icons, with this amazing hover effect, just like this one. Next we have this address step. So after completing the first part, we will have our second part. That's it. And here first we have a div with class name of largest string mx will be auto. Now inside this we'll have a h1 with the text address. This h1 will have a class name of text lg, font bold, text white. Then after the h1 we'll have another div with class name of margin top 8, and then inside this we will have another div with class name of flex. Then we have item center and SpaceX 5. Then inside this div we will have an icon which is fa paper plane from React icon, and this icon will have some class name of width 5, height 5, text white. Then we have a key tag with the text, let's say old city street USA. Then we're going to use a break tag, and then 1212 New York 3500. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our address and we have this text, but the text needs to be designed. So here this p tag will have a class name of font medium, text small, and text white. Now if I hit save, now it looks good like this one. And next we have phone number and email. So this one is for the address, and I'm going to copy it two more times. The second one is for phone, and here this one will be if a phone, and here I'm going to use a dummy phone number 88014420420. That's it. The next one is for the email, and here I'm going to use io mail open, and then the text here is example at the rate gmail.com. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our email and all of these, but it doesn't look good. We need to add some spacing here. So for the second one, for this one, we're going to add in margin bottom of 5 and margin top of 5. And if I hit save, and now it looks good exactly like this one. So next we have this more services links. So after the second part, we will have our third part. So here we'll have a div with class name of in a large screen image auto. Then inside this div we'll have an h1 with the text more services, and this h1 will have a class name of text large, font bold, text white. And then after the h1 we'll have another div with class name of margin top 8. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, item center, margin bottom 2. Now inside this div we'll have an icon of md keyboard double arrow right. So this one, arrow right. That's it. And this icon will have some class name of width 7, height 7, text right. That's it. Then we will have a p tag with the text UI design, and this p tag will have a class name of font medium, text small, and text white. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our projects, where you can see we have our UI design just like this one. So we have 4 more. So I'm going to copy it 4 more times. So after the UI design, we have UX design, and then let's say web app, then we have digital marketing, digital marketing, then we have video editing, Now if I hit save and go to our project, and now you can see we have this services part. Awesome. Next we have this newsletter section. So after the third part, we have our fourth part. And here we first have a div with class name of mx auto, and then inside this we have a h1 with the text newsletter, and this h1 have a class name of text large, font bold, text color white. That's it. Then we have a div with class name of margin top of 8. Now inside this div we have a p tag, and the text I'm going to copy it from here. So copy this and paste it here. The p tag have a class name of font medium, then text small, text white. That's it. Then we have a div with class name of margin top 5, flex, item center, space x4, and then inside this div we will have a image, and I'm going to import it from next image, and the source will be slash images slash f.jpg, let's say alt img width 80, height 25. That's it. Then after the image we'll have a div with class name of flex1, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center. Now inside this div we have an icon bi calendar icon, and this icon will have a class name of text ember 300, width 6, height 6, margin right 2. Then we have a p tag with class name of margin of 2, text white, and font semi-bold. And inside this p tag we'll have the date, let's say 25 October 2025. That's it. Then after this div we'll have another p tag, and the p tag will have a class name of margin of 2, text white, font bold, and the text here is this one. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. If I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our newsletter sections exactly like this one. Next we have this bottom part, so I'm going to copy this text from here and then go to our project. So this is our top part, and then after this div we'll have our bottom part. And here we'll have a div with class name of border t2. It means border top 2 with 80%, image auto, border gray 700, margin top of 8. And then inside this div we have a p tag with this text. This p tag have a class name of margin top of 8, text gray 300. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so this is our bottom part which looks exactly like this one. So now our footer looks amazing. I think we have some font mismatch here. So for the date, this one will be text small. So now if I hit save, now it looks good, exactly like this one. I think we have a item center missing somewhere. Here we don't have this margin top 2. So now if I hit save, now it's in the correct position. So this is our footer. Let's check the responsiveness. If I inspect and select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device everything fit perfectly. Let's check on the iPad device. In iPad it also fit perfectly. So our footer section is completed. Next, we're going to build the scroll to top button. So if I show you the button, here you can see we have a button. So if I click here, it will go to the top, and initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling, it will appear to the screen. So to build it, I'm going to create a helper component here, and I'm going to name it scroll to top.css, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. Then I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to add this in our layout so that all page have access to this scroll to top button. And then I'm going to hit save. Now in the scroll to top, here I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client, because we are going to use hooks here. And here first I'm going to create a state variable. So const is visible and set is visible, and I'm going to use state, and initially we are going to make it false, so initially there will be no button. Then we're going to create a show hide button functionality and here I'm going to use a use effect hook, and this will have an empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called toggle visibility. This one will be an arrow function, and inside this we're going to take if window dot scroll in the y is greater than 300, then we're going to set is visible to true, else we're going to set our is visible to false. That's it. Then we're going to add a event listener to our window. So window dot add event listener, we're going to listen for the scroll event, and we're going to run our toggle visibility. And it's a best practice to remove the event listener in the cleanup function. So I'm going to return an arrow function, and I'm just copy this and replace the add event listener to remove event listener. That's it. So this is our show and hide button functionality. Then we're going to create a scroll to top functionality. And here I'm going to create a function called scroll to top. This one will be an arrow function. And inside this, we're going to use window dot scroll to. We're going to scroll to the top. So the top will be 0 and the behavior will be smooth. That's it. Next, here we are going to return a div, and the div have a class name of fixed bottom 4, then animate pulse and right 4. And then inside this we're going to check if is visible is true, then we're going to show a button. The button will have a class name of bg hash b69974, then cursor pointer fixed white rounded full width 12 height 12 flex item center justify center and focus outline none. That's it. And then inside this div we're going to use fa arrow up. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we already have this button, but clicking not working because we need to add the function here. So in the on click we're going to add our scroll to top function. So now if I go to our project and now if I click here, it will go to the top. Awesome. And you can see initially it's hidden, but as soon as I start scrolling, it will appear to the screen. And you can see the behavior is smooth. So our scroll to top functionality is completed. Next, we're going to add animation to our project to make it more attractive. If I show you the deployed version, if I reload the page, you can see we have animation, scroll animation in our project. And because of this animation, the website feels more professional and attractive. So to make this animation, we're going to use a package. The package is AOS, animation on scroll. So we search for AOS and go to their github.io page. You can see it's animation library, and here we have different types of animation like fade up, fade down, fade left right, fade up right, and flip animation, zoom animation, and all of this cool animation. And the best thing is it is very easy to add on your project. You just need to add this data AOS to your div and it will automatically scroll when the content is in the view. And you can use different types of settings also. So first I'm going to install this package in our project, and I'm going to copy their npm script, and then I'm going to paste it here. And next we need to import this AOS and AOS dist. So I'm going to copy this and we are going to configure this in our. So first let's close all of this, and we're going to configure this in our home. So I'm going to paste it here. And another thing is we need to make it a use client. So I'm going to make it a client component using this use client. And here if I hover, you can see we need to install the type also. So I'm going to copy this. So let's copy and paste it here to install the corresponding types. And then inside this home, I'm going to use the use effect hooks, and then this one will have an empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called init aos. This one will be an async function, and then inside this I'm going to await import aos, and then I'm going to use aos.init. We're going to initialize this with some options. So if I go to their documentation, you can see they have different types of options that you can play with, and you can read this documentation to understand more about this package. So I'm going to close all of this, and here what we need for now is the duration. The duration will be 1000 milliseconds, that means 1 second. The easing will be ease, and then once will be show, and the anchor placement will be top bottom, and that's it. And next we need to call this function, so I'm going to call this using init aos. That's it. So this is our setup. Next we're going to add the animation first to our hero section. So let's go to the hero.tsx, and here we're going to add the animation to our h1. So I'm going to use data-aos, and for this one we're going to use fade up. That's it. Next, for the p tag, I'm going to use another animation data-aos, and this one will be fade up also. That's it. But here I'm going to add another property, which is data-aos-delay, and I'm going to add a 150 millisecond of delay. So I want first this title comes to the screen and then this p tag. Then I'm going to copy these two lines, and I'm going to paste it in the button, and here I'm going to change the delay to 300 milliseconds. That's it. And then I'm going to paste the code here, and for the image I'm going to use fade down, and this one will be 450 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, you can see we have our animation. Awesome. You can see how easy it is to implement the animation to our project using aos. Awesome. Next we are going to add animation to our about us section. So let's go to the about.tsx, and here we're going to first add the animation to this div, the image div, and here I'm going to use data-aos, and for this one I'm going to use zoom in, and I'm going to add another property here, data-aos-anchor placement, and here I'm going to use top center. That's it. And I'm going to hit save, and now I'm going to copy this to line. Then I'm going to add the animation to this h1, the about us text. So I'm going to paste here, and this one I'm going to use fade up. The anchor placement will be top center, and then I'm going to add a delay, data dash AOS dash delay, and the delay will be 150 milliseconds. That's it. Now I'm going to copy this, and for the H1 I'm going to paste the code here, and this one will be fade up, and the delay will be 300 milliseconds, and the placement will be top center. Next I'm going to copy this three line, and for the P I'm going to use the same but change the delay. This one will be 450 milliseconds. That's it. And then we're going to copy this, and we're going to add this in our about progress also. So here in this div, not in this div, inside this div, I'm going to paste the code here, and here I'm going to also need the index, and the delay will be, we already have 450. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 450 plus index into 150. That's it. So for the, so I think it's wrong because the first index have 0, so this one will be 450. So what I can do is index plus 1 and then multiply this with 150. That's it. So we need to make it in number. That's it. Now let's check. If I go to our project and if I reload the page, we have our initial animation, and if I start scrolling, we have our about us animation. Awesome. And you can see it looks amazing. When you start scrolling, it starts coming to the screen. Awesome. Next, we are going to add animation to our services section. So let's go to the services.tsx, services, and here we already have 4 card. So I'm going to paste the animation code here, and I'm going to use fade right, and the anchor placement will be top center, and for the first one we have a delay of 0. Then I'm going to copy this and paste it here. For the second one, the delay will be 100 millisecond. Then for the third one, the delay will be 200 millisecond, and for the fourth one, the delay will be 300 millisecond. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project and reload the page, we have our initial animation. If I start scrolling, we have our about animation, and then we have our service animation. Looks awesome. So if I show you again, you can see it looks amazing. Next, we are going to add animation to our work process. So let's go to the work process.tsx, and here we're going to add the animation to the work card. So here in this div, I'm going to paste the animation code, and this one will be fade up, and the delay will be 0, and the anchor placement will be top center. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, we have our initial animation, our about us section animation, then we have our services animation, and then we have our work process animation. Next, we are going to add animation to our portfolio section. So let's go to our code and let's go to the project. So project, and here in the div, inside this div, I'm going to paste the animation code, and here I'm going to use a zoom in, and this one will be top center, and the delay will be index into 100. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, so these are initial animation, then we have this about us animation, then services animation, work process, and finally we have our portfolio animation. Next we're going to add animation to our block section. So let's go to the block.tsx, and here for the first block card I'm going to paste the animation code, and this one will be fade left, and for the first one the delay will be 0. Now I'm going to copy this. For the second one the delay will be 100 milliseconds, and for the third one the delay will be 200 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, we have our initial animation, about us animation, service animation, work animation, and we have our portfolio animation, and finally we have our blog animation. Next we're going to add animation to our contact section. So let's go to the contact.tsx. So here contact.tsx. First we are going to add animation to our contact form. So here I'm going to paste the animation code, and we're going to use a zoom in animation, and delay will be 0 and anchor placement will be top center. And I'm going to copy this, and then we're going to add animation to our boxes. So for this part, these cards, so here I'm going to paste the code, and we're going to use zoom out here, and the delay will be 100 milliseconds. If I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, so here we have our initial animation, our about section animation, services animation, work process, portfolio animation, blog animation, and finally the contact section animation. So let me show you the animation again. So if I start scrolling, you will see everything looks amazing and professional. Everything comes to the screen smoothly, and we have smooth scroll animation. So our animation looks amazing. And now we have an attractive landing page where we also have the scroll animation. So our scroll animation is completed. So we have completed all the features and functionality of our landing page. Now we're going to deploy our project in live server. So we're going to deploy our project in Versa. So before that, we need to deploy our project in GitHub. So first I'm going to open my GitHub account, and then I'm going to create a new repository, and I'm going to name it corporate, and I'm going to make it a private repository, and I'm going to create a new repository. Next, go to the code. I'm going to delete this and clear the terminal, using CLS, and then first I'm going to use git init and then git add dot and then git commit and then a message like first commit. Then so we add this commit, then we need to use grid branch dash main, and then we need to add the remote origin, and finally we need to push the project. So copy this and paste it here and hit enter. This will upload our project in GitHub. So it's completed. Now if I reload the page, you can see we have our project in the GitHub. So we have app, component, constant, public, and all of this. Next, go to the Vercel dashboard, and here I'm going to create a new project, add a new project, and here I already connected to the Git. And if you don't have Vercel account, create one for free and connect your GitHub. So I'm going to import this, and then I'm going to click here to deploy. The deployment started. Let's wait some time to complete the deployment. The deployment is completed. Click here to continue to dashboard, and now we have a domains. So if I click here, it will open our project in live server, and you can see our project is now on the live server. And if I reload the page, you can see we still have our animation. And if I start scrolling, so we have our scroll animation working. We have our idea section in the portfolio. Then we have our blog section, our contact section. And if I click here, it will go to the top. It's still working. If I inspect and select the mobile device, and our sidebar working properly, and everything looks fine in the deployed version. So this is it for our project. Our project is now completed. If you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section, and you can now use this link to add it to in your resume, or you can send it to the client to show your expertise in Next.js. And the source code of this project will be given in the description. You can check it out. So that's it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe this channel for more interesting web development content. Thanks for today.